Welcome, Mojo. And it is January the 9th, 2023. We welcome all of you here. If you are listening, please comment. Let us know that you are with us, that you are here. And we have Sopheia McMorris in the back. She will be joining us here in just a few seconds. I just wanted to come on and welcome everyone. And, it is January the 9th, 2023. I cannot believe that we are already in the ninth day of the new year. It's remarkable how fast it's already going. It's just so exciting. So many things going on. And one of the big things that we are talking about tonight with Sopheia is resolutions. And it's some people set resolutions, some do not. Some keep striving to make it happen, some do not. So we invited Sopheia McMorris to come on and help us with our resolutions and how to sustain those. So, what is the definition of resolution? A firm decision to do or not to do something. And so we want to help you, if you haven't already made your resolutions, to go ahead and get it done. It's never too late, never too late. And if you've already given up on your resolutions, we're going to get you back on track. And if you're striving and you're doing great and it's easy for you, maybe we need to put a little more on you. Who knows? So I'm going to go ahead and invite Sopheia. She is a take control of your life and create the life you love person. She is the one to reach out to. Wisdom speaks life. I love this. I absolutely love this. She has this on her LinkedIn page, a gorgeous picture of herself, and she is a phenomenal person to work with. And she is here to help in your career, in your business, any way that you need help. So Sopheia is known as the Executive Wisdom Mentor, CEO, and founder of Wisdom Speaks Life. She specializes in using wisdom to help master and take control of their lives, creating a life they love. Sopheia teaches and trains high performers, professionals, and entrepreneurs in the art of self mastery, which is a self leadership. Self leadership makes you an effective leader that influences your thinking, feelings, and actions. You can step into being a CEO of your life and live life on your terms. And I'm telling you, right now, right before I bring her on, every time I listen to her talk, it sounds just like she's talking to me, about me. So get ready and let's give a big shout out to Sopheia McWilliams. Welcome, Sopheia. I'm so glad to have you here tonight. And just give us all the wisdom that you have for our 2023 resolutions. All right. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
Perfect. So, Sopheia, how long have you been doing what you're doing in your business? How long have you been in business?
Well, I started my business in 2013. So I've been working in this particular field for that time, and helping people change their life and create a life they love.
Oh, that is so exciting. And you work, if I understand correctly, you work with individuals and entrepreneurs and business people in whatever they need inspiration with, correct? To get them
Yes,
back on track.
yes.
Perfect.
Because definitely, one of the things that we find out is that all things are linked to that self relationship. So to have a self relationship, and it's the relationship you have your whole entire life. And sometimes we tend to think that, the relationship with other people are more important than the relationship we have with ourselves.
Oh, I find that for me every day. Every day, I'm always wanting to make everyone else's life easier, happier, and I put everybody first.
Yes,
But how can we really put anyone first if we can't put ourselves first?
exactly, exactly.
So okay, well, let's talk. So tell me about how you can help us.
Well, definitely can help you with transforming your life, and your mindset in the way that you think about different things, depending on what people are looking for. I always bring the attention back to that self relationship. So when we talk about like resolutions, and people making resolutions, some people just kind of make it to make it because it's tradition to make it every year. And while other people are really seriously contemplating it. But the thing that can happen with resolutions, if you don't have that inner working in order, you can tend to keep doing the same thing over and over again, like I did, and then look like I'm crazy.
No way. And hello, Dr. Patricia Rogers. Thank you so much for coming on with Sophia and I tonight. We welcome you and thank you for being here. We are talking about making resolutions, sticking with our resolutions. So, Sophia, how should we go about making our resolutions so that we don't overdo it, over empower what we really can do?
Well, one of the things I would say first is instead of a resolution, choose a lifestyle change instead. Because resolutions don't tend to work. And we know that 81% of people will fail on their resolution by February. So then, what are we doing? And so there's a lot of resolutions that's made, but not necessarily, followed through. And so there's a lot of different statistics on this. One of the things that I talk about is with the lifestyle change is to definitely, um, look at what you want to do and then we start doing some self reflection. So I'm doing right now a series of lifestyle change, and I have part one through part four. And what it looked like is, the first step is mindset. And when we talk about mindset, we're talking about that inner working, like what are you doing? So we can look at motivation and we can look at, um and motivation can be looked at in two ways. So there is internal motivation, which comes from where you're having your feelings, your values, your goals, and we have the external motivation where that comes from duties, deadline, things you think you should do, or you're doing it because somebody else is doing it, or it's a comparison of yourself to someone else, or you're just doing it to try to fit in. So, what we want to do is to steer away from the external motivations to start looking within. And that's what our lifestyle change is more about, versus, just using external. So, the first thing is to do the lifestyle change, and mindset shift. And I recommend that we start with self relationship, and self reflection. So we start with self reflection journaling and learning your story. What is it that you've done in the past, the last year? What was that resolution like? Were you successful? What kind of things did you do? What was the situation that surrounded it, and then how successful were you in doing that? And then once you get some clarity about with your self reflection and learning your story, then you make a decision to rewrite your story, changing your beliefs. One of the things that we recognize is that 95% of our lives are lived in the subconscious mind, and only 5% of our lives are lived consciously. And behaviors account for 40% of that. So it's important that when we're making resolutions or we're making lifestyle change, that we work on shifting our beliefs. Because if we don't believe that we can be successful, then we're not going to be successful. If we believe that we're starting, like when I start this and then after a certain point I'll drop off, but that's okay, then that's what you're going to get. So you have to really work on changing that story, changing your personal story in order to change your beliefs. And then from there is to remember to focus on what you want. Some people tend to focus on what they don't want, and that's not what you want. You want to focus on what's really going to help you be successful. So you want to keep that in mind. And then the other part of that is that failure. Sometime we start doing the thing that we wanted to do, and next thing you know, we have a mishap. Let's say it's a diet, and you started eating healthy and everything, you cut out everything and all of those things, and then next thing you know, you fall off the wagon. And some people at that point, they say, oh, it's done, it's over, I just need to give up, I'm just no good at this. And the thing to do is to recognize that failure as a learning experience. Learn what not to do, and then pick yourself up, and then go ahead and start again, because that's important. It's never too late to start again in doing what you need to do. The next part of a lifestyle change is the transformation of your habits. And I think that is so important because, one, we first must identify the habits that are holding us back from doing what we want. And then the second part of that is to create new habits. And so James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, he talks about using the cue, trigger, the craving, the response, and reward. And he talks about how those works together to create new habits, as well as, if you have old habits, it's the same formula that supports those habits as well. The third thing is developing self discipline and holding yourself accountable. A lot of time when we think about self discipline, we think about, setting boundaries and doing all of those kind of things. But when we set a boundary, the first person that has to get the boundary is us. Well, again, it brings us back to that self relationship. You can't set boundaries with somebody else that you're not willing to set with yourself. So if you're saying, I want to be respected and I want to make sure that people respect me in whatever it is that you're doing, then you first must respect yourself in order for that to be effective. Because then when you know what respect look like for you, then you can communicate that clearly to somebody else. The next part of the lifestyle change is habits. And so we can look at the different habits where we want to be able to change the way we are. The lifestyle change, the next part is action steps. And so that's the third part. So we started with the lifestyle change of mindset is first, where you look within and start working on yourself that way. Then you change your habits. And then from there, you get to the place where now you're ready to take some action steps. And the first thing about action steps is normally we think about all the things that we can do, and we just jump right in and we start doing. If it's a diet, we just start, okay, I'm going to eat this. I'm cutting out sugar, cutting out flour, cutting out carbs, I'm cutting everything. And so we're just on this roller coaster of cutting. And then next thing you know, you get overwhelmed. So the best thing to do is, if you're really looking at yourself and really tuning into where you are, then there's going to be an action that it requires for you to take, and you're going to be able to take that action knowing that this is something that feels right for you to do at this time in order to move yourself forward.
And
And then,
Sophia, one
yeah,
second. Dr. Patricia Rogers says, good information. Changing anything always starts in your mind, and you
yes.
must believe that you can make the change.
Definitely, definitely. You have to absolutely believe that, because if you don't, then you're going to get to the place where you start but you don't finish. And so that's important, that you're able to recognize what it's going to take so you can move yourself consistently forward. The next thing is creating an action plan to change your behavior, and only change one behavior. So, like I mentioned, if it's diet and you said, oh, I'm gonna, cut this, cut that, cut the other, is to only do one thing. And sometimes it has to be reduced down to one meal. So let's say you were having breakfast, and every time you had breakfast in the past, you would have, a donut or some cookies and coffee and those kind of things. But you say, you know what, I want to have a healthier breakfast. So you might want to change that out and then put something, um, fruit or something like that. So that way, or, something with a protein or something like that, instead of, the donut. But not to try to, okay, I'm going to cut all sugar. I'm going to cut all caffeine. I'm going to cut, I mean, we just go a little bit berserk at times when we start doing these kind of things, especially when it's an external motivation and not an internal motivation. So the third thing is, find a lifestyle partner. And it's so important to find people that will join you on the journey, that will accompany you. But one of the things I caveat is that, you find people to support your accountability. It's whatever it is that you have already set up within yourself. You're holding yourself accountable, and then you get somebody to join you in that, so that way they're supporting you. It's not like you make a mistake, we're going to beat you up and, or say you're doing terrible and now talk, negative to you. But somebody who's going to really be supportive and help to point out areas that you may not be aware of, that might be like weak spots for you. So those things are important. The fourth thing is lifestyle change, and it's ongoing maintenance. And so when you look at that, you want to look at your commitment, and it's commitment to yourself to be the best version of yourself, and so, or to live to your highest potential. The second part is consistency, continuing to take one step at a time, and to close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, where you find yourself. And is, it's to be able to accept that, and then said, okay, what are the steps that I'm going to take to just close this gap, and be where I want to be. So the third thing is compassion, and it's one of the things that we can tend to overlook when we're doing lifestyle change and transformation. We tend to do this, we forget about the self-love and the self-care and the compassion. Now, one of the things I talk about often is that there's a difference between self-love and self-care. They're not the same thing. I would like to say that self-care is born from self-love, because self love is practiced with compassion, empathy, and kindness. And self care by itself is not sufficient, because you'll do things, with the kindness. You'll take care of yourself. You maybe go for a walk. You'll try to eat healthy. You'll, exercise and do those kind of things. But it by itself, without the compassion, if you are still having a lot of negative self talk, if you're still beating yourself up when you make a mistake, that's not good. So you definitely want to be able to step into that place of the compassion, where you now are going to treat yourself like a friend. You're going to treat yourself like your best friend. If your best friend came to you and said, you know what, I just fell on my diet. I ate that brownie pie, or I ate, I did all of these kind of things. You're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe, you know, you did that. You're going to be like, well, it's okay. Tomorrow is a new day. The next meal is a new, a new meal. And you can start over on your journey to experiencing the transformation that you want. The last thing is really celebrating your wins. Celebrate the things that, whether they're large or small, but the things that you're doing well. And I think a lot of time we don't think about that. We always, look at the big picture. Did I get to my goal of losing that 10 pounds, or did I only lose 1 pound? But 1 pound is 1 pound. And so you have to celebrate that, and give yourself that compassion and said, okay, we keep going. We could possibly get 2 pounds next time, and everything. But really just celebrate everything about the work that you're doing, the care that you're taking for yourself, and the inward looking that you're doing.
Wow, this is exciting. This is so exciting to break it all down where we can really understand it because, when we are not familiar with all of these steps, like you are, Sophia, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, is I look at the whole picture. I'm that person that no more coffee, no more sugar, no more, I need to walk, you know, 5 miles instead of 1 mile when I really can't even walk a quarter of a mile, So it's like, you
Yes.
can't overdo it. And it's good to have someone like you to break it all down for us. And I think that's really important. And that's the best words I can utilize it, just thinking off the top of my head, breaking it down bit by
Right.
bit, piece by piece. And instead of, I'm always telling people when they get overwhelmed, don't look at the entire platter that you have to
Mhm.
do for the day. Look at each item. And I think
Right.
that's important even on this level. Of course, this is a huger level, but I think more than what we believe, do exactly all the things that you said as far as we look at the big picture. We don't celebrate. We try to do more than what we really can do all at one time, and then we get upset with ourselves.
Yes.
And there's no need in doing that because in the big picture, you just, like you said, you make your mistakes, you pick your big girl self up, and you go, okay, tomorrow's a new day, new hour,
Right.
new minute, and move on. And things don't always go the way we plan. I mean, what does go the way? Nothing goes the way LaDonna has planned. I don't care what it is. Something's going to, it's just something's, it may be little, but if you stress over it, then you get sidetracked and then it becomes a big thing.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you know, so you said that do you have like a class to kind of break it farther down for people or?
Yes. So I do a weekly show on Win Win Women TV, and it's called Sophia Speaks Wisdom. And so I go into detail, more detail about these steps. So each of the steps that was like the high arching type of thing, but then each of those high arching, let's say, taking the self reflection, and learning your story. I go into how you ask yourself the questions, to learn your story, and then looking at your experiences in order to help you to be more effective in learning your story, and then being able to rewrite your story and asking yourself questions, to do that as well. So each one of those things I go in and I talk about, in detail. And for the rest of the month, I'll be on, right now I've done lifestyle change, part one with mindset. So the next one is habits. So that'll be on Wednesday at 3 p.m.
And 3
Central
p.m.
Time.
at what central? Okay, that's what I was
Central
going to
Time,
ask.
4 p.m.
Yes.
Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I don't know any other time.
And you know what? It's in people like you and I, Sophia, that is can be that can be life changing. Sometimes I'll get on early or I'll get on late, and I'm like, I've just learned to Google it, just
Yes,
Google it
yes.
and get it changed for me. So let's say that we missed the first part. Is it recorded on your LinkedIn or Facebook so that we
Uh,
can watch it?
well, actually, if people go to, I can put the link in the chat, but if people go to Win Win Women, um, let's see, winwinwomen.tv show / Sophia Speaks Wisdom, they can hop on, they can see all my pre-recordings that are there. So the one for last week will be there, and then they can also join my show live if they hop on at that time. Or they can, schedule it to, hop on when I go live for the next one.
Okay, can you give
So
me that link one more time so I can put it on, please?
okay, I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Oh, awesome. That way I can just put it on there and we will have it. And I will tell you, every time I've listened to Sophia, I've learned something. It's important to have an open mind. I feel like anytime you're trying to learn something or relearn something, especially because change, we most people don't like change. We
Hmm.
don't want to change. We always have a reason not to change. But listen, if we never change, we'd still be using outhouses. So
Right.
that's a way to think about it. It's always a good, I don't say always, but we want to think positive when it comes to change because hopefully we've learned something and it's making our life easier. That's what we hope for when change
Right.
happens.
Right. I think one of the things too is, to help with change is for us to think about what we want. Think about how, let's say, any one of these things, the habits, for example, have been holding us back from living the life that we want. And so think about how it has affected you and held you back. But also think about how, if you shift and change, that it can move you forward, and you can be able to live more of the life that you want to be able to live. And so you have to be willing to go there, paint that story for yourself, reflect, look at what has happened, and be able to accept that, and then create the new story that you want. Because really, what we're all about is we have this ability to create our lives the way that we want it. So look at that and then write your story how you want it, and then think about that every time you come up against an obstacle or a roadblock, is to think about what's happening and that what you really want. And if you really want something, then you'll find the way to move yourself forward on that.
Oh, that is awesome. Oh, my goodness. And Sophia, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight with us and for teaching us these things and breaking it down so that we can really understand it for ourselves, how to treat ourselves and the people around us. And, it's always take care of yourself first, and
Yes,
then you can take care of others around you better. But I know that's a
definitely.
hard thing for us sometimes,
Right. I always think about, you get your cup full and overflowing, and give from your overflow. And when you give from that overflow, you're never depleted. You always have more than enough because your cup is always still full.
Oh my goodness, that is great. We need to have that printed on t-shirts. So, all right, Sophia, if you'll just hang on one second, don't hang up with us. I'm going to go into our sneak peek preview for Home Sweet Home Treasures and just a couple of other things that we need to go over, and then we'll bring you right back. All right, if
Okay.
anyone has any questions, put them in the comment, let us know, and then Sophia is going to be right back with us to answer any questions that anyone has. All right, hold on one second. Here we go. But Sophia, she is fabulous, fabulous. She is a fabulous person to talk to and filled with information. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Rogers. I am so glad you're here. Here's our sneak preview. Here we go. Hey everyone, this is LaDonna with Home Sweet Home Treasures. Hey, hope everyone's having a beautiful day. I have put together some sneak peek items for you to look at. Lots and lots of different shades of pink. Look at this beautiful vintage plate. It would be considered a serving plate. It's an oval shape and it comes up with the handles. It is vintage. It is not marked. So I don't know the maker. Look at the beautiful pink and cream flowers. Then we have this beauty. She is vintage. Her hair is soft. Almost feels like it is real. Almost feels like it is real. She is a beauty. Pink sweater with her little white top. Look at this blue and pink with cream plaid. Her little black shoes and socks. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm going to bring Sopheia back on. Sopheia, did you think of anything else that you want to say before we leave today?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I am grateful and I appreciate you. So,
Oh, well, thank you. And Dr. Patricia Rogers has awesome interview and information.
thank
I'm
you so
so
much.
glad that she's on, and it's always a treat. And I know that there will be several others watching the recording. And just, I hope that everyone will comment and we will try to get all of your questions answered for you. And anything else, Sophia, that you can think of?
No, just come to my show. I would love to have
Yes.
you.
Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And she will break it down even farther for us and help us
Yeah,
get that life change that we deserve. And
exactly.
we're going to say goodbye to everyone. We do have just a little bit more as you're exiting. We're having a beautiful food pantry fundraiser in the month of January. We're going to talk about that a little bit, just for like one more minute. And I know your time is valuable. And here we go. And have a great evening.
Bye bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.